Now, the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority has warned against the use of Ozempic for any other treatment other than diabetes. It follows an increase in demand for the drug for weight loss. The development has resulted in a shortage, especially for those who desperately need the drug. The regulatory has also warned against using any other products claiming to be Ozempic. Dr. Donald Gumede, a medical doctor, joins us now to discuss this craze. Very good morning to you. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika.
Morning, Mpho. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you.
Concerning,
yeah.
I mean, this is a Schedule 4
yes.
prescription medication authorized by SAPRA,
yes.
specifically for the treatment of type 2 diabetes
Correct.
in adults.
Yes.
And now there's a craze over it. Quick
yes.
fix, weight loss,
yeah.
and the results are fast.
Yeah.
What concerns you as you analyze this?
Yeah. First and foremost, I think let's just educate the viewers quickly about diabetes. So diabetes, you see, is a shortage of your insulin in the system and the rise in your blood sugar levels in your bloodstream. Yeah. And then, therefore, then you don't have your energy levels because the sugar cannot get into the cells. So Ozempic in particular, it helps us regulate our blood sugar. So the Ozempic is the opposite of your insulin, you see. So when your blood sugar levels are low, it increases it. It goes to the liver and begs it and says, hey, liver, we need sugar in the system because the sugar is not enough in the blood system. Now, in that way, it increases our blood levels. Then it also goes to the pancreas, where actually the beta cells and the alpha cells sits. So the alpha is for your glucagon, which is what your Ozempic is all about. And then the beta one is for your insulin. So it's a regulatory system that is actually at play here. Now, the effect or the good side effect of Ozempic, why is it so popular? It's because when you take it, it goes and asks for this sugar from your liver, as I have explained just now, and it goes and tells the pancreas, which secretes the insulin, to say, we have too much sugar here, can you yes. deal with it, you know, and all that. Now, it's taking the storage part of it, so you don't need to eat. You feel full. Also, it delays also the emptying of your gut or your bowels. So as a patient, if I were to put it that way, you will feel like I'm content, I'm fine. I don't need to eat.
It's an appetite suppressant.
It does that, is correct, yeah, it does that as well.
So if that's the case,
yeah.
I mean, you know, I wanted us to get into this a little later,
sure. Okay,
just
no
describing it, but now that we're here, it's
sure.
okay.
Correct.
So if that is the case, how come then there's so many diabetic patients who are battling to manage their weight? Oh, wonderful.
So the issue is with lots of patients with almost 30 years of experience in the field. The problem is mainly with the patients' compliance. Okay. Yeah, if we're to call it that way. It's not necessarily about the medication most of the time. It's about how the patients are schooled or educated to take their medication regularly. So because even if it's not Ozempic, it's the other medication, we always encourage the patients to always keep their weight down, because that helps a lot in regulating the sugar levels in the system. And it also improves in regulating their cholesterol levels, which actually is another risk factor in the diabetic patients, and also prevent them from getting blood pressures and all that. So that's the case, actually. So what is the concern here? I mean, from my end, from where I'm standing, what I immediately think of, because I have a grandmother who's a type 2 diabetic, should she not be able to get her medication because somebody else who wants to lose some weight is using it, then my grandmother's life is at risk. So that's my main concern. I was going to go there. So actually, Ozempic in South Africa in particular, let me just clarify it. In other countries, it's registered for weight loss. We must bear in mind. But here in South Africa, SAPRA is only registered for diabetes. So SAPRA, as you know, is a regulatory body for health products regulations. You see, that's what it stands for. So it regulates every product that comes to our country, which is for consumption by human and animals. So they make sure that whatever you apply the license for, so strictly, within their rights, strictly, they've approved Ozempic for the use of diabetes. not anything else.
Okay.
The side effect, the other side effects, and just to add a little bit, is most of the drugs in the medical field, some of them, they were discovered by mistake, for your information. Like your Viagra, it was for high blood and angina, you know. And then once they were giving the patients, then they realized it works for something else. And then also penicillin. The guy, Alexander Fleming, the doctor who was doing research, he was doing research on the bacteria, and he left it, went on holiday. When he came back, he realized that the bacteria is destroyed, or it's not growing. And then he said something should be working to kill this thing. That's how we discovered antibiotics. So it's not a unique situation at the moment, what is happening. It's just that in our country, it's registered for diabetes only. It's not
so where does it
for
place you, Dr. Gumede, as a medical doctor? If I came to you and said, you know, I have thyroid issues, I'm really battling with this weight situation, or I want a quick fix.
There are other means. I don't believe personally on quick fix because there are other means.
More and more patients are coming to your offices.
I promise you.
As a medical doctor.
If I were to show you my line, you'll be shocked. Yes. And I mean, the social media also is not doing justice because they are phoning us and they're coming to our offices in numbers. Not few, in numbers.
So where does it place you as a medical doctor?
It's in a crossroad, but I always believe I have to stick to what actually the regulatory body says. Because if I deviate, remember, I now start treating a patient who's non-diabetic, and then they get into a diabetic coma, I'm in trouble. Because it was not, yes, correct. Because now it's not prescribed for that. You see, now I'll be deviating and doing something illegal, to be honest. So I won't be practicing my profession properly. A
diabetic coma. So that is one of the side effects.
Yeah. You see, because you are increasing your insulin levels to come and eat the sugar that is there in the system. Yeah.
Okay. So amongst the side effects, that's one. What are the others?
There are a lot. There's gastric problems. People, they tend to fat a lot, and then they have running tummies. They vomit. They feel miserable a lot.
Yeah.
But also, even though it wears off, I mean, as time goes on, when you put them on it for diabetic patients. But yeah, there are side effects. Yes.
So how long then? If you had to send out a word of caution, I mean, a coma, just the word coma sounds frightening.
Correct.
A diabetic coma.
Yeah,
how long, if you had to send out a word of caution to the people who are using this jab every month or whenever, what would your word of caution be?
I would say, with all due respect, we urge them because, in truth, we have run out of stock. Even my patients can't find it.
Yeah.
When I prescribe, they come back and says, "Doctor, we don't have the treatment." And we know it works for them. And it's them who, like you rightfully said, who need it. The other ones is for leisure. And it's because, and it's very expensive, eh? It's just that those who have money, they can flaunt it around.
Yeah.
But in principle, it's very expensive. And it's reserved for and exclusively for diabetic patients. And we ran out of stock for quite some time. And when it comes, it just comes in drips and drops. And you can't maintain the treatment for the patient if the treatment is not consistent. It's like your hypertension or HIV. You know, you need to be consistent. You can't just chop and change. It doesn't work for the patient. So actually, the people who need it, and the reason why actually we like it is because you jab it once a week, you know, and it stays in the system and regulate the patient. And that's beautiful. But now you see the people who are hijacking the system. It's not really correct. It's not right.
Okay, so what are the repercussions for the medical doctor if a patient comes in and says, "Dr. Gumede, I am a diabetic. This is my medication." Are you just going to write it down and prescribe it straight? Do you need evidence to show that I'm a diabetic?
Yes, we do. Okay, so first and foremost, as clinicians, you make sure that you diagnose the patient. So if you come to me and says you're diabetic, I'm not going to take a word for it. Or
what if I say I've been operating with Dr. So-and-so?
I don't care. Okay. I have to make sure. Because now I'm opening my new file. I have to have your results in my file. And oblivious to many people, they don't know, we have the systems that actually is connected to the laboratory. So if you come and says, "Dr. Gumede, I'm diabetic," I said, okay, when were you diagnosed? You say, "Last year." I said, "Fine." Then I just pick up the phone, I call my laboratories, I won't mention them by name, there are many.
Yes.
I said, okay, I'm with Mpho here, date of birth, blah, blah. Can you mail me the hair results? Then they will mail them to me. Then I'll tell you, Mpho, you're lying. You're not diabetic. You're just asking for Ozempic. Just be upfront and be honest.
Are there repercussions? I mean, it's not registered in South Africa for the use of weight loss, but diabetics.
Correct.
So what happens now? Is there a case to stand on when it comes to holding the medical doctors accountable here? Because you're the ones writing out the scripts and the shortage is happening at the same time.
Correct. Yeah, there are. But you see, I like the question, but then it's a thin line between telling the truth and whatever. Because if the guy probably is making money in some corner, that doctor, shady doctor, if you want me to call him that way, he won't report it. And the patient, because he's benefiting, until something goes wrong, like I said, then that's when the patient will go and report the doctor. Then the doctor will get into trouble. Because at the moment, it's practically impossible for us to go around and monitor who's prescribing it, who's giving it away, and who's not giving it away. But then, in truth, I mean, our ethics dictates that we must act properly and professionally as well, and to the best interest of your health.
Absolutely.
We should not cut corners because of monetary gain or anything
But
of that
there are
sort.
some people cutting corners, because I understand that there are now fake Ozempic doing the rounds on the black market.
Yes, 100%. These guys, I don't know how do they manufacture these fake products, but yes, there are people who end up with fake products. They come and they says, maybe this thing is burning. Where did you get it? From someone on the streets. But no, you must get them from we always encourage people to get them from the pharmacist or from the doctor's offices.
Is there a generic?
No, not at the moment. That's why they're still holding the patents. That's why they're expensive and they're still running short of it. Because if there was, we would not have the shortage. You just go next door and get the generic and supply to our patients. But it's a very important drug at the moment, but it doesn't mean that is the alpha and omega. We still have other medications that works. It's just that, like we're saying, people, they got wind of it from social media and everything, and it does work. And then they stock it out. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gumede, for coming in studio and explaining this to us. I mean, the dangers, diabetic coma.
Yes.
Very frightening as a word of caution. Dr. Gumede, Donald Gumede, is a medical doctor, talking about Ozempic being prescribed for non-diabetics and the dangers which come with it.